everyone, it's Brennan. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my September TBR. The books I want to get into this September, I'm gonna kind of have three different categories. I'm gonna go through the physical books I want to read, the Kindle books I'm wanting to read, and then the audio books I'm wanting to get to. So without further ado, let's get into my September to be read. I'm gonna start with Serpent and Dove. This is a carryover from August. I'm about halfway through this already, and I'm really liking this. This kind of got mixed reviews, but I'm really enjoying it. This book follows our main characters, Lou, who is a witch, and Reed, who is a witch hunter. And through circumstance, they have to get married. Kind of a marriage of convenience, marriage of inconvenience, but this is a YA fantasy, and it took me a little bit to get into it. I probably read about 100 pages, but then after the 100-page mark, it's like I've just been thinking about this book. At work, I'm just thinking about this book, and I'm really interested to see where this goes. Lou is kind of in hiding. She hasn't been practicing as a witch, and I'm sure we're going to learn more about her backstory and what kind of drove her away from her coven. This is set in like a fantastical France setting, and that's just not the kind of fantasy I usually read. And I had read a book earlier this year called The Vine Witch. It was a free prime read, and I didn't love it. It was set in France, but this book is redeeming that French setting for me. The pastries in here, they're great, and I'm really enjoying this book. So this is the first book I want to finish this month so that I can jump into Blood and Honey, also by Shelby Mahurin. I don't think I mentioned the author, but these are by Shelby Mahurin. And this book just released a few days ago. I'm filming this on September the 3rd, and this book came out on September 1st. So I want to get Serpent and Dove read so that I can jump into the sequel. I've not read any reviews on this. I have not read the synopsis on this. I don't really want to go in knowing too much, but I do believe that it still follows our main characters from the first book, so I'm interested to see where this goes. These are both like pretty chunky books. Serpent and Dove is like 500 pages, and it looks like this book is about the same, little over 500 pages. So some chunky books to get into the next chunky book that I have to read this month. At least, even if I don't get it read this month, I want to read a good chunk of it, and that is Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas. This is the last book in the Throne of Glass series. I'm sad, but I'm excited. I'm nervous because the odds against them are just, they're a little staggering. We'll be back with Selena. I mentioned in my August wrap-up how Tower of Dawn follows a different set of characters, so I have not heard from Selena or Rowan or Adian or Dorian in quite a bit now, probably a little over a month. So I'm so excited to get back into this world and see how it all wraps up. I feel like I will definitely have a book hangover after this series because I have just enjoyed it so much. Recommend. I'm a sucker for YA fantasies that are heavy in the romance, so if you're interested in that, would definitely recommend Throne of Glass. I'm a little late on the Throne of Glass train. I mean, it's been a series for quite a while now. This book came out last September, or last October. It came out late 2019, but love this series. Love Selena. Love our relationships. Gizmo is eating down here. I don't know if you can hear her. Probably. She's chomping away. So those are the three books. Those are all really chunky books. I mean, Kingdom of Ash is like almost 1,000 pages. This is almost 1,000 pages. So I think if I get those three books read this month, that's excellent. I kind of have a bonus book that I might pick up, and that is The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I did not pronounce that right. This is like a pretty well-loved thriller, and I'm wanting to get into some thrillers and some mysteries and some horrors because it is September. We're going into October next month, so I would like some atmospheric reads. This book has good reviews, and I love a good thriller. Again, I have not read the synopsis on this. All I've heard is that people like it. I don't want to go into thriller with too much knowledge about it. I want to be thrilled as I'm reading this. So hopefully I can get to this towards the end of the month. If not, I will definitely pick it up in October and get some spooky reads going on. So those are the 4 physical books that I want to read this month on Kindle. I'm currently reading Come As You Are. It is a book by Emily Nagoski, I think is how you say it. I'm not the best pronouncer, but it is kind of about sexual health and the psychological aspects of sexual health and enjoying sex. And I'm about 30% into this book, and I'm making myself not start the month reading a Kindle romance novel because I have some chunky fantasy books to get through, and I just can't let romance take over my life. So I am reading a nonfiction book right now, which I typically don't read as quickly, especially when I am actually reading it. I would like to finish Come As You Are, and then I do want to get back into Penelope Douglas's Devil's Night series. I think that this series will just be excellent to read in September going into October because it does focus on the happenings of October 30th in the different characters' kind of lives, so a little spooky. So I do want to jump into Penelope Douglas's second book in the Devil's Night series. It is called Hideaway, and it follows our character Kai. He's been in the previous book, and he's kind of the more like soft-hearted of the guy characters. So I'm interested to see where this goes. Again, do not know anything about the plot other than it will probably focus on when Kai was in jail some and him kind of dealing with his experience after getting out. I'm sure it will be dark. I'm sure it will be steamy. I'm sure I will be highly entertained. So I definitely want to get through those 2 books on Kindle this month, and as a bonus I will hopefully start or maybe finish Switch by Penelope Douglas, which is the 3rd book in her Devil's Night series, and this book follows Damon, who is definitely the most problematic of the characters in the series. He probably has quite the dark past. They kind of hinted at it in the first book, Corrupt, in the same series, but I am quite excited to see where his story goes because he needs some character redemption. His actions in the first book were maybe unforgivable, maybe not unforgivable. I've heard really good things about this 3rd book, so I'm excited to get into that. If I don't get to it in September, definitely we'll get to it next month. So for the audiobooks I want to get to this month, I primarily listen to nonfiction. I enjoy it most when I get to listen to it, and for my fiction I really like to have the book in front of me. So for my audiobooks this month, I want to finish the book I'm currently listening to. I'm listening to Salt, Sugar, Fat by Michael Maas. This is kind of a journalism expose on food companies, how they market to certain groups, especially women, especially moms and children, and just kind of how we are trying to hold food companies accountable for the health, especially in America. I want to finish that, and then I want to jump into How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan. If you're familiar with Michael Pollan, he typically writes food books on different qualities of foods and sustainable agriculture and things like that. But this book, his kind of research on psychedelics and how psychedelic compounds, how they maybe can be used with depression and anxiety and different mental health illnesses. So I am really looking forward to starting that book. I picked this up because I saw Michael Pollan on Joe Rogan's podcast, and I was like, oh great, I'll listen to him talk about food. It was not about food, was all about psychedelics, and I am interested. So I'm excited I have this on audiobook, and I'm excited to get into it this month. The next audiobook I want to check out this month is Making Sense by Sam Harris. This is his newest release. I believe it came out in August of this year. A really recent release from him, and he reads it, of course. And I like Sam Harris, and I like his work, and I like his mindset and kind of how he looks at things. So I'm excited to get into his new release. The bonus audiobook that I might be able to check out this month is I Can't Make This Up by Kevin Hart. I have heard that Kevin Hart's books are excellent and that he is an excellent writer and that his messages and stories are really good. And I love a good kind of self-help, self-development type book, and I really like Kevin Hart. I've been listening to his past podcasts with Joe Rogan also, so I'm excited to pick this book up because he has a newer book out, and I would really like to get to it also. So thank you guys for watching. That is my September TBR. Let me know down below what books you want to read this month. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in my next video.